You saved my life. Now I want you be with me forever. We will make our own world, please.
Chains of glory. The hero the queen refused to free. The battlefield stank of iron and smoke. Darren staggered across the ruined courtyard, his sword hanging from his hand, his breath ragged. The demon lord lay cleaved in two behind him, still smoldering where holy steel had torn through its flesh. Blood, his blood, poured from a dozen cuts across his body, staining the ground in dark pools. And in his arms, trembling and weeping, was Princess Elenia. She clung to him, golden hair tangled with soot, violet eyes wide with disbelief that she still breathed. She had been carried into the heart of the abyss, imprisoned in chains of shadow, and no knight, no mage, no king had dared pursue her. Except Darren. He had walked into the maw of hell alone. And he had brought her back. The gates of the fortress finally burst open, the queen's banners streaming in. A tide of soldiers surged past, shouting victory. But they halted when they saw Darren kneeling with the princess in his arms. For a long moment silence fell. Then the princess cried out, "He saved me. He gave everything, his blood, his strength for me." Her words rang out like bells, stirring the men into cheers. They raised their blades in salute. Yet in that same moment, Queen Maris rode forward atop her ivory horse, her face unreadable beneath her jeweled crown. She looked at the princess, then at Darren, her eyes narrowing. "Bring him," she commanded. Chains in the palace. Darren woke 3 days later, not in a bed of honor, but on a cold stone floor. Shackles bound his wrists, heavy and enchanted, sapping what strength remained in his veins. His wounds had been tended to, not gently but adequately, ensuring he would live. The chamber was underground, lit by torchlight, with walls too thick to hear the world above. A dungeon, though cleaner than most. When the door opened, it was not the princess who entered, but the queen herself. "You should be dead," Queen Mary said, her voice smooth as silk but hard as steel. "No man survives the demon lord's blades." Darren forced himself to sit straighter. "I survived. That is all that matters. The princess lives." "Indeed." The queen studied him, pacing slowly. Her gown whispered across the floor like the hiss of a serpent. "My daughter sings your praises. The court already calls you savior. Some whisper of marriage even." Her lip curled. "A farm-born Sellsword wedding into the crown. Imagine." Darren's heart lurched. He had not sought glory or crowns. He had gone because no one else dared, and because the thought of Elenia's suffering had burned like fire in his chest. But he saw in the queen's eyes that truth mattered little here. "You fear me," he said quietly. "I do not fear you," she corrected. "I fear what you represent. A man adored by soldiers, beloved by my daughter, hailed by the people. Such men become kings. And I already have one throne in my realm, mine." She turned sharply, her shadow cutting across his face. "You will remain here, alive but hidden. The story will be that you fell in battle. A hero's death, clean, untarnished by scandal." Darren's fists clenched, chains rattling. "You would bury me alive after I bled for her." Mary's smile was cold. "Your blood saved her. Now it binds you. That is enough." The princess's plea. Days blurred together in silence. Darren was fed sparingly, guarded constantly. Yet one night, the door creaked open again, and this time it was not the queen who entered, but Elenia. She rushed to him, tears streaming down her face. "Darren, I begged them to let me see you. They told me you were recovering in the barracks." I didn't know. She saw the chains and fury lit her eyes. What has my mother done? He tried to smile, though it twisted with bitterness. She fears me more than demons, it seems. No, Elenia gripped his hands, pressing her forehead to his. She fears losing control. You are a light she cannot cage, but she will try anyway. Darren, you cannot stay here. I will free you. We will run. Elenia, he said softly, though the word tore his heart. If you flee with me, you will brand yourself traitor. She is still your mother. Still your queen. She is not my chains, Elenia whispered fiercely. You are my savior, my shield. I will not let her bury you. Before he could answer, footsteps echoed in the corridor. She pressed a hurried kiss to his brow and slipped away, leaving him with fire in his chest and despair in his bones. The Queen's bargain. The Queen returned the next morning, flanked by armored guards. She studied him, her expression sharper than ever. My daughter grows unruly, she said. She slips from her chambers, speaks of rebellion. All because of you. Darren met her gaze without flinching. Then release me. Let me vanish beyond your borders. I want no throne, no crown, only freedom. You speak truth, Mary submitted. But truth bends when wrapped in legend. Even if you vanished, the songs would spread. The people would wait for your return. No, Darren. Your death is necessary. She raised a vial of dark liquid, swirling. This poison leaves no mark. Quiet, painless. A fitting end for a weary hero. I will place a monument above your false grave. The realm will mourn. My daughter will grieve. In time she will forget. Darren stared at the vial, his jaw set. Then he laughed bitterly. You may bind my body, Marys, but my blood already runs in their songs. You cannot kill what I have become. The Queen's eyes flashed. Then you will suffer. I will keep you alive, bound in shadow, until your name fades to dust. Pray your daughter learns obedience before then. The escape. It was not the Queen who decided his fate in the end. It was Elenia. On the seventh night, cloaked in dark leathers and wielding a stolen blade, she returned. Her hands shook as she unlocked his shackles, but her eyes burned with resolve. Come, she whispered. The guards change posts at midnight. I bribed the captain with jewels. We have little time. Darren stood, his strength returning as the shackles fell. For a moment, he simply looked at her, the princess who had wept in his arms, who now risked her crown for him. You realize what this means, he said. If we flee, you cannot return. You will be hunted. I know, she said. But better hunted with you than gilded in a cage without you. They slipped through hidden halls, down servants' stairways, out into the moonlit gardens. For every guard they met, Elenia had prepared, weaving lies, using passwords stolen from overheard whispers. She was clever, fierce, unyielding. And when they reached the outer gate, Darren lifted her onto a horse, then mounted behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. For once, he murmured, let me carry you in peace. They rode into the night, leaving behind the towers of gold and iron. Behind them horns sounded, an alarm, a hunt begun. But before them stretched a horizon of freedom. Epilogue, chains of glory. Legends grew quickly. In taverns and markets, whispers spread that the hero still lived, that he had fled with a princess, defying a queen's chains. Some said they crossed the sea. Others said they hid in forests, gathering rebels to their cause. Queen Mary silenced every bard who sang of them, yet the songs only grew louder, sung in secret, carried in hearts. For in truth she had been right. You cannot bury a man whose blood was spilled for others. You cannot chain a hero whose sacrifice gave hope. And somewhere, far beyond the Queen's reach, Darren and Elenia forged a life not of crowns or courts, but of freedom, bound not by blood or chains, but by love stronger than either.